Right, what have we got today? Well, it's a whopper. Listen to this. Listen. Boosh. Boosh. Sorry if anyone's wearing headphones in. I've just ruined your hearing there. But this is a rather large one. It doesn't even fit in if I was to put it this way, unless I put the camera up on the ceiling. So this is the... In fact, I'll flip it over. That makes it easier to read. This is the Felo, so a German manufacturer. I'm quite into my German tools. So this is the Felo Esmart. Now, bear in mind there are multiple versions of this, so you can't just go and buy an Esmart. So that's the brand, the Esmart. I think off the top of my head there is an Esmart Industrial or Industry. Yeah, no, it's Industry. Esmart Industry. And the difference comes in what you get in the pack. So on the Industry, I think up here you get something like a cabinet key. Now, for those who don't know, a cabinet key or utility key, whatever you want to call it, is something that electricians and workmen use to get into cabinets, electrical cabinets, access cabinets, face plates and things like that. And it's a specialised key where it just keeps the general public out, basically. And they have different profiles, and there's different ones you can get triangular ones and ones with little bits on, and it just allows you to get into workmen's cabinets. So you get that with the industrial one, and with the industrial one you get a completely different set of heads. Before I go into what you get here, you get all funny little heads where you've got the two little blade ones that go around, and all different little ones, so you'll get a completely different set. So just bear that in mind if you're looking up this. And also, I have noticed recently, anyway, I mean, I've had this for a little while. I put it back in the box. You can get the Esmart Slim. Now, the difference comes in, and I shall show you, and we'll discuss this later on, actually. So it comes in not how slim this section is, but how slim the insulation is. Now, the point of this insulation is to stop you getting an electric shock, basically, and saving your life. Now, it slims that out. Now, why would they slim that out? Because you're going to think, well, okay, does that mean I'm less safe? Well, they slim that out because sometimes you have screws in a recess, or pocketed screws, however you want to refer to them, where you'll have the pocket and the screw is recessed down there. Now, if you use some of these, I've used insulated drivers where it's got loads of insulation on. You think, yeah, brilliant, I'm dead safe. But you cannot fit it down the damn hole, and it's a nuisance. And you end up getting Stanley knives out and doing dangerous things that you shouldn't do, which I'm not going to discuss in this video. So I just want to point it out. So this is the Esmart. You can get the industrial, which gives you the cabinet key, totally different heads. And you can get the slim version, which is similar to this, but it slims out the insulation. But we'll cover that. So let's have a quick look at the box, because I want to try and keep this rapid. So I've done this in 4K HDR. I want to try and get some nice close-ups. If you really want me to, I'll do it in 8K, and I'll really zoom in on those heads, because I know that's something that's important to a lot of people. So in this set, you get 12 blades altogether. They call them blades because they actually go into a handle. So you've got a two-component handle here, and you also have a funny little cap that you can use to make it into a precision driver. Well, precision style, it doesn't change the size of the head. So you get 6 slotted, which is nice because you always get a load of little slots in the electrical ones. You also get 2 blades which are Phillips. As you can see, that's like the cross formation. And then these are posi. I sometimes get a comment from people who are non-European and say, well, we don't use posi. Well, we do here because sometimes there is a lack of Torx, which is what these are. And before Torx sort of became popular and synonymous anyway, we used posi. And posi is just, it's basically a Phillips which has... It's hard to explain, I'll show you, but it prevents cam out. I mean, you want cam out in some Philips applications. That was the whole point originally. And these are VDE. So what's VDE? Well, it's to prevent you getting electric shock, basically. So VDE means it's certified. I mean, we'll go over this now before I open it. So VDE certification is where they put it through a lot of tests and ensure that it will come to a certain standard. The standard on this one happens to be 10,000 volts. That's alternating current on that one. So VDE just stands for, I think it's Verband der Elektrotechnik, I think it used to be called in Germany. In fact, no, that's what it's called now, and it used to be called the Association of German Electrical Engineers. It's basically a set of standards and testing that is carried out by the VDE people, and they ensure, I mean, it says 10,000 volts there. I'll tell you now, they've probably tested that way above that, but they'll ensure that it will go to at least that. But can I just say before I move on, if you are not a certified electrician and you don't have any training, never, and I'll repeat this twice, never work on a live system. Okay, I just want, please let that sink in. Okay, so don't buy this and go, hey, brilliant, I can go around the house, and don't do that. Okay, I'm deadly serious there. Okay, so let's take this out. So for those who do need to work on a live system now and then, which again I've told you shouldn't be doing, this is what you get. So before I move on, made in Germany, and you get a 15-year warranty. Nice to see, 15-year warranty. So I've got a little bit of hope there. I'm only aware of Felo because I've seen some of their bit drivers. I don't have one with me. I will have a look in them, and someone was discussing some of their stuff in regards to, it was basically a handle you can get like this, but there's a splitted section and there's a pivot there, and you can pull this out and turn it into a T driver. Very interesting. I'll have a look into probably getting one of those sets, because I think there's a bit of utility there when you want a bit more torque. Because on the channel recently I was talking about getting a set of T drivers, and people said, you know, unless you do that all the time, what's the point? It's just more stuff to carry, and you know what, they're right. Okay, so moving on. Here's the box you get. So hard plastic. What are the hinges like here? So okay hinges, they've got a bit of metal going through there, so decent quality. And then you have these rubberized sections. So okay, pretty good. It's nice to see the rubber on there. They didn't have to bother with that. The one thing I don't like is this friction lock. So this is how you prevent it from opening. So you can't open it now, look, but if you slide this to the left, it disengages. I've never been a big fan of friction locks, especially when they're not very tight, which this one isn't very tight. I just find over time they get knocked like that in a bag or whatever, and then, oh, surprise, surprise, it's been open and a driver falls out, or you get a load of bloody sand in it, or whatever. It annoys me. So, you know, for me personally, I would have preferred a clasp or something like that. But it's not the end of the world. Okay, so there you go. That's the box that you get. There's nothing of particular interest with that box. And then if we open this up, and hopefully I can fit it in. So there you go. Right, so almost fitted in. So what are you getting here? You get like a blown vinyl backing there, and now that's come out. So there's a quality issue. So you get that, and then you get all of your blades here. Now they're very interesting looking blades. So what they have is, on the top, they have this section, which doesn't have any particular use on the two component driver, but you have this where you can stick a cap on, and I'll show you that in a second, and you can stick that cap on and turn this into, it's a precision style anyway, where, you know, if you're using precision, it would be more like that rather than having the two component handle on. Whether people are going to use that is another issue. So this is all plastic, and then you have a rubber section there, and then it continues along, and then you have further insulation on here, which has the marking on saying it's VDE up to 10,000 volts, and that is AC. And then, as you can see, you know, when we discussed the thinness, so in order to go into a, I mean, that's probably long enough for most applications, but if it's a really deep pocket, you're going to have to get the slim version. So that's just something you may want to consider. But these are okay. I've not had any problems. I've mainly used the Torx. In fact, I used the Torx a week ago to almost completely dismantle a Dyson, which was falling to bits and I wanted to get rid of. So I just broke it down to its component parts, and Bush got shot of it. Now, which one's this? Is this the T20? I didn't use the T20. I think it was the 15 I used. So let's have a look for where. Or was it not the 10? Let's have a look. It might have been the 10 actually. Yeah, it was the 10. So in regards to where, let's get a little. Yeah, that's the one I used for the Dyson there. So as you can see, there are what I would call high spots where that coating is starting to come off, but it's very, very, very minimal. I'm sure you'll agree. I think that's pretty decent. I'll not zoom in on this. I'm not going to bore people with zooming in too much on a head. But all the heads are very nice. The angles all look correct to me. Fit and finish is decent. The only thing that slightly annoyed me on some of these was all of these seams. And I know you get that with plastic, but you get them less on something like the PB Swiss tools. It's something that I generally don't see in the Kinebex and things like that. So it feels like they've cut a few corners, but I mean, quality control other than that's absolutely fine. So in order to use any of these, if you wanted to use one, so let's have a look. So we've looked at the Torx there. Let's look at this is a Phillips. So there's the Phillips head. Let's get a nice close-up of that there. There you go. So again, nice angles, all looks decent. No wear on that, and I have used this Phillips head. Just briefly though, and you're not using it's not a high torque application when you're doing electrical stuff, or it shouldn't be. You should be being sensible, so pretty decent. And again, this isn't a slim version, so the insulation's quite thick. Has the branding, they're all exactly the same, and they are marked as well. So if you think, which one's that? There you go, PH1, in other words, Phillips 1. So to go through them, Torx wise, you get a Torx T10, you get a T15, and a T20. You also get, in the Phillips, you get a Phillips 1 and 2. So there is the Phillips 1, Phillips 2. Let's have a look at the Phillips 2, because that's even bigger. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, nice, nice. A tiny, tiny little bit of wear in there where I've used it. Not a lot, though, not a lot. Because I swap and change. And then you have your posies. So this happens to be a, what's this? This is a posi 2 there. So posi driver, so very similar to a Phillips. I really need to get a little bit of light on here. Let me grab a light here. There you go. Right, let's have a proper look at this. Okay, there you go. Much better. It's not in the darkness. So there you go. Pretty nice, pretty nice. Now they are calling that the posi 2. So again, fit and finish is particularly nice, other than those seams which I've mentioned, but that's just me being nitpicky. I don't like the feel of them. Listen, hear that? They're quite high. I mean, I could go along with my thumb and start taking them all off, and they will come off with time, you see, look. So it's not an issue. And we also have, what have we got here? This is quite a small one. So these are the slotted, very small, look. But nice heads. Can you see that what they've done there? It reminds me of what they do on the PB Swiss tools. Rather than have a, it's not a chisel grind, it's a flat grind on both sides where they come to a point. They've actually ground it to a point, and then you have this, the proper shape of a slot. So if I can get a nice close view there, see how it chisels in, and then you have that slotted section. So well made, decent quality product. Then you have the other slotted here. And I could go through all the slots, but it's a bit boring, and there's the largest one there. I'm trying to make this rapid. There's a good example. You can see the slot is actually slotted shaped, so it's not wiggling around in the slot. So in order to use these, let's move that out of the way just temporarily. So you have your component handle, or you have your precision cap, they're calling it. So in order to use this, you could stick this on, and you'll notice there is a detent there. So you put that on, and if you listen, there you go. Right, now listen. See how that spins? So that spins freely, and you use your thumb and your fingers to do that. So you would use it like that, like a precision driver. I'm not sure how often you would use that, because you know you've already got this handle, but you do have that option, and then that just comes straight off back in the box. Boom. So it's nice to have that, but it's certainly not essential. And here's the main handle. I'll show you. They're calling it a 2-component, which it is. You have the plastic. So listen. That's the plastic. Nice to see this. That gives utility, allows you to attach things. And then it's got the markings on there. So you've got the VD and 10,000 volts. You also have the IEC marking to let you know what it's up to, what standard. And there's your branding. So it does have a spring mount system. So see that there? That's the release mechanism. So they just go in like that. Now listen. There, you hear the click, and then it doesn't come out. It doesn't come out unless you press that. Now, when I first got this, I thought, oh, here we go. This looks a bit, this is a gimmick, because you're just going to get, if this isn't tight, you're just going to get annoying movement, and it's going to break. That hasn't been the case. There is movement though, watch. So look, see how there's a very slight there, very slight side to side. So there is some play, but at no point did I ever use this and say, well, this is rubbish, it feels spongy, or there's too much play. No, well done, Felo. You have done a decent job for this sort of system. There's also up and down play, watch. See that? It's very, very small though, watch. A tiny amount as the spring system kicks in. But again, I never used it and thought, well, this is awful spongy. No, it was fine. And then to release it, you do that. And nicely, it's got a semi-retainer. So one problem with some of these systems is you do this and it goes flying across the room like one of those, you know, Russian daggers you can get with the gas system in it. But watch, it retains it, doesn't go flying across, which you don't want near electrics. And then you just take it out. And they all work the same. So you just pop them in, click, do your job, and then do that. And then remove. Lovely. So nice design. I was worried about that there'd be too much play, but there isn't. Anyway, so really there's not a lot to go over. Like I say, if you really want to, I'll get loads of close-ups in 8K, but there's not many people here watching who have an 8K TV. I think 4K in HDR is probably more than enough. So we've covered everything. You get the 15-year warranty. These are made in Germany. They're not just a German tool manufacturer who's decided, right, get them made somewhere else that's a lot cheaper and we'll just, rest on the name. Because a lot of manufacturers are doing that. Although I'm pleased to say that I've got some VDEs from Knipex. Now, they are still made in Germany. In fact, I think it says, made in Germany. So I'm glad to see most of the Knipex stuff is still made in Germany. Yeah. So I don't like that trend of a lot of these manufacturers. Vera are guilty of that on some of their stuff. They're getting stuff made in the Czech Republic and stuff. I'm not having to go to the Czech Republic or Poland or wherever they're getting stuff made. But when you're a German company, you should try and stick to manufacturing it, because that's what people are buying. That they're trying to get something they can trust 100%. But anyway, I'm quite impressed with this. Apart from all of these veins and stuff that in blebs look like that are left. I like the component handle. It's not dead soft. It's certainly not soft like the luxurious PB Swiss grip look, where it's super soft. Look, I can leave an imprint with my thumb. These are that's like luxury to me. Beautiful. They could have went more down that line. It's soft enough. It's more like a sort of if you really stretch out an elastic band and put it over a cup or something, it's that sort of feel. It's fine. It's fine. And ergonomically wise, it's certainly fine. Yeah, that's nice. It's similar to the Vera handles, but the Vera handles are a bit more knobbly, but this is nice. And it works. So do your job, and you've got the precision cap if you want it. Like I say, this is a bit poor. And the blown vinyl is a little bit cheap, so I'll probably end up sticking these in a bag or something. I'll probably get like a Maxpedition set micro or an EDC to stick this in, because I wouldn't really want to be humping all this around. To me, that's just extra weight. I'd probably rather do that. But anyway, so I'll probably give this so let's give this a mark out of 10. I've used it briefly. Like I say, I completely dismantled a Dyson. I've been doing some electrical work, so I used the Philips and one of the other slotted. So I've used it minimally, but in regards to what I've already seen and what I've used it for, it's been great. What I was worried this was going to be sloppy, but I would just caution, if you are going to do any electrical work, please don't work on a live system unless you are trained. I've said that multiple times, not because I'm risk averse, because it's the truth and you can die if you do that. So mark out of 10 for this. I would say it's pretty nice. I think they could probably rethink the case, but other than that, I'm going to give it an 8. If they put a better case and made it slimmer, and trying to get rid of some of these veins, which are they just don't feel very nice when you're using it. Again, they'll go over time. I'll remove them with the Dremel, but you shouldn't have to do that. Not when you're buying a lovely sort of German tool with a big warranty like this. So I'll give it an 8. Rethink the box though. So thank you for joining me. If you have any questions, stick them down below. I reply to everyone, even the people saying that they hate my guts and things like that. That's fine. I'm a freedom of speech channel. So thank you very much for joining me, and you can get on with your day now. So goodbye. Whee!